This is TWiT.
Do you think, though, about the consequence of this kind of disruption? I mean, if you're a travel agent, you're not cheering so much disintermediation.
No.
I mean, we are in a very disruptive time as well. What do we think about that, or do we just say, hey, look, we've got to enter the future, and there's going to be some casualties?
So this is a conversation I have at Singularity University every time. We run programs at SU for graduate students. Google actually funds all the graduate student tuition for our graduate program.
Great.
They underwrite 5,000 applicants come in, 80 graduates get funded and go forward. We do executive programs. We do programs for our largest companies. And the conversation of disruption, so the question becomes, are we? Is it different this time? Because, you know, in the 60s, it was thought that automation, that's what we called AI and robotics back then, automation, was going to destroy jobs. And in fact, it's just created more jobs. And so there are people like Mark Andreessen who believe that no, all of AI and robotics are simply going to take the jobs we don't like and get rid of them. So here's a stat for you. This comes out of Gallup. Gallup did a poll and said 70% of Americans dislike their jobs.
Oh, jeez, that's bad.
Well, you know, honestly, if you're taking tolls or you're stocking boxes,
there's
or
a lot of crappy jobs out there, and yet we got to feed ourselves. We got to pay the rent.
And so here's the notion: if all of a sudden the cost of living is dropping precipitously, right? So we spend money. Let's take a few examples. We spend money today, and I talk about this in bold, and I give it as examples. We spend money on health, on education, on cars. All three of those can go to near zero as a cost. Health, we've got our Qualcomm Tricorder X Prize that we have a winner this year. Imagine a device that you can talk to, cough on, do a finger blood prick, and diagnose you better than a team of board-certified doctors. The cost of healthcare is going to plummet and going to be far better than ever before. Education, we just launched our Global Learning X Prize. And this is for a piece of AI that can take a child in the middle of no place in Tanzania and honestly bring them from illiteracy to basic reading, writing, and numeracy in 18 months. We're going to have an AI be the best teacher for the son of a billionaire or a daughter of the poorest person on the planet. Will be the same. The same way that Google on this device is the same for Larry Page at Google or for a Maasai warrior in Kenya. It's total democratization.
That's what they said about Coca-Cola, right? You're drinking the same Coke as a billionaire.
It is.
But I love this vision.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't a reality yet.
No, but we forget how far it's come.
Right.
It is so easy to forget the fact that when you have this device, and it is a reality for 1 billion people in Africa in 2016, 1 billion of these handsets. And this handset on a smartphone, that person, that poorest person who, you know, uses a good amount of their wealth to buy one of these, has access to the world's information. They also have two-way video conferencing on Skype, high-definition video cameras, still cameras, libraries of books and music, and all of these tools. And it is a reality for them. We've changed their world far more than anybody else's world. You know, it's rising, you know, these rising billions who I talk about. And that is a reality. We forget about that. We forget about the fact that you and I are on Skype, that which is we take for granted on this ability to do this. In 2000, the cost of starting an internet company was an average of $5 million for the bandwidth, for the servers, for the software, for all of that. That number has gone from $5 million to $5,000 for the equivalent in 2014. A 1,000-fold reduction. But yet we forget about this stuff. So when you say it's not a reality, it is very much a reality. We just take it all for granted.
What would you tell people today who are facing perhaps the loss of their jobs? Kids coming up in college. You know, I have 2 college-age kids. You have two 3-year-olds. But what do you tell your kids they should be doing to prepare for this new future?
It's not about becoming an expert in robotics or AI or any of these areas. It's about finding out what you're most passionate about and remaining curious. I think those are the 2 tools that humans need more than ever before. passion and curiosity. Because if you're passionate about something, you can go and launch a Kickstarter campaign with very little skill and raise the capital to go and create that book, make that movie, start that, whatever project you want. So it's finding out what in your heart and soul you want to do more than anything else. So you're not just stacking boxes to feed your family. And I think there's this ability to go from a world of doing what you do for the basic minimum to doing what you're passionate about. And I think this uplifting of humanity is being enabled by these technologies. Yes, people are going to lose their jobs, but we're going to be creating new jobs. And your ability to go online and self-educate yourself is better than ever before, for free, by the way, from the best teachers on the planet.
And at the same time, though, we have created amazing technologies to amuse ourselves to death, to put ourselves back to sleep. We can spend a lot of time on the couch doing nothing, and it's very seductive. Not everybody has the energy you have, Peter.
Well, and I would say they don't have the energy because they haven't truly found what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think for everybody here, if you're in a stage in your life where you're trying to figure out what you want to do, you're not happy with your job, or you're in school and you're doing what your mom or dad told you to do, or what your teacher told you to do, the question is, can you take a moment, and if you took one thing away from this conversation here today, it is, what do you love? What would you do if you didn't have to work? What would you do? You'd probably go to the beach, hang out, have some margaritas. What would you do? So
my passion is having margaritas. You have a problem?
So the question is, what do you do? What did you want to do when you were a child? All right. I dreamed about becoming an astronaut. If I were to say, listen, I'm going to give you $1 billion that you have to spend to make the world a better place, what would you do with that? So there are different ways to think about connecting with your passion to make your life meaningful and purposeful. Because when you can connect with that passion, it's near an infinite well of energy that you can then start going and saying, I can do this. I can make a difference. I can start with a small step, and then the next step, and the next step. And that's what I wrote about in Bold, and it's really written for anyone at any stage in your career, on how do you tap into this amazing world we're living in to become sort of a riding on top of the tsunami of technological change instead of being crushed by it.